All right. Hello, 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 hello. Sean Brady with another fabulous episode of Leverage Your Lunch. And we are here with the one, the very cool, the very fabulous, very down to earth, Ernest Martinez. Ernest, how you doing today?
Mr. Brady, I am doing okay. I can't complain. It's the holiday season. Family's already here, and I'm doing well. Got some good mom's good home cooking last night. We
Love
did
it.
some more tonight, so yeah.
Well, we're subject today is challenging times and thriving in these. And hey, this is real life, real happening. You got people coming back in the car. You're running around doing stuff. You know,
Yeah.
we're in stuff. I just talked to some of my family members, and we were going to quarantine and do some of these other things because we're all seeing different We wanted to see different families, and some of us aren't going to be able to do that. So we just too much on our plate and too much going on, and it's challenging,
Yes.
definitely,
Very
and
challenging.
not just for families, but certainly for our businesses and all these other practices that we have in our lives. What are some of the things that you've been doing? And for those that don't know Ernest Martinez, Ernest, I'll let you introduce yourself because I think you're a fabulous guy. And here's a couple of things I will say about you. You've been in our corner, Michelle and I, for a long, long time. You've been our mortgage banker for, we got our mortgage with you. What was it? 4 years ago?
14 or 15, yeah.
It was like
Maybe 16.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was 16 we moved. So 4 years. And we've been having a great business relationship ever since. And you do lunch with Ernest, which has been on pause because we've had lunch with Ernest where you and a bunch of other sponsors like myself get together and put on a fabulous lunch and learn for primarily realtors, but really any people in the business community to come together and do that. But that's been very challenged in these COVID times.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you've been talking to with other people say what you're doing now because you've been a mortgage banker for as long as I've known you. But where are you at now and what else do you do?
Well, my name is Ernest Martinez. I am the oldest of four, the best looking of the four children. I've been telling my parents that as we've been driving around. Work at First Bank as they call them a home specialist. So I'm a mortgage banker, loan officer, mortgage consultant, whatever you want to call it.
That's right.
Been doing that for 10 years here in St. Louis, working on, building. It's been slow, but been building a business and thank God that it's going well. I've been married for over 16 years. This week we'll have been engaged for 17 years. So we're still engaged.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're still engaged. She's still my fiance too.
That's awesome.
3 kids. They're all super good looking like their mom. And they like to eat. They like food. We like to cook. And of course, the COVID has caused us to do more cooking. In addition to that, so I love people. I'm in the people business. In addition to that, I'm a pastor of Landmark Family Church. We are currently meeting at the community theater at the YMCA in Chesterfield.
That's right.
We were meeting in Maryland Heights, but because of space and COVID, we were forced to move. It wasn't like our landlords forced us to move, but the circumstances did. And thankfully, the YMCA was very kind, and we'll be there for a while. Set up and tear down a whole different thing, but it's been really good. It's opened up a ton of space, so people feel safe, and there's plenty of social distancing, and there's room to grow.
Yes.
So those are the things I do. I just try to help people and just be a friend and advocate. Just be I want to be a voice, but more than that, I want to be a shoulder people can lean on. So
that's right. Well, in this whole spirit of thriving in challenging times, what are some of the best practices that you want to share that you've come upon that other people are doing? Because we know that there's tough times out there. We've seen businesses fail, struggle more so than in past years.
Yes.
Some are thriving, but how can we all thrive together is what I always like to know.
Well, I like the fact that you asked how we can do this together. That's the first key is it's got to be together. I think that there are, my business has not really been impacted by this yet. Okay. I don't know if there's going to be impact in the future. I do think there's going to be long-standing impacts of whatever's happened, whatever it is. At this point, it doesn't matter what people think it is. It's just, it is what it is at the moment. I think there's going to be effects later on, and maybe at that point I'll feel the impact. But you know, restaurants, man, they have lost their socks on this. A lot of good restaurants have had to shut down.
Yes.
I was sad to hear that Edgewild shut down 2 restaurants. They shut down Edwards, Illinois, and they shut down Creve Coeur.
Yeah. And that's one of the meeting places we do lunch with Ernest, so we're very familiar. And in Chesterfield, close to my home.
We were having lunch at the one in Chesterfield, and you know, we were maybe one of their top clients because we did it every month, and we have done it for 5 or 6 years now, and so we've been we've given them we could have taken the money anywhere, but they've made a good amount, and it's put good tips in people's pockets. Those things, you don't think about those things, but they've had to scale back on their servers. And so as I look at them, as my favorite Chinese restaurant in town is Wonton King. Mm-hmm. I was in there the other day, and I was talking to her, and she said, it's terrible. She said, this is worse than the first shutdown. Yeah. She said, thank you for ordering. I said, yeah. And so I think, so let me back up. And you know how I am. I have long answers, and I apologize, but I've tried to change it, and I just can't.
Keep going. It's great.
So we want people to thrive. Thrive is growth. Now, it may not be visible growth. In fact, much of growth takes place underneath what the human eye can see first, right? So when the seed sprouts, it sprouts down before it sprouts up. It's got to have good, strong roots so it can tap into water and nutrients the soil provides, etc., before it even comes out of the ground. And so we may not see any visible thriving, but I think that one thing we can do, just as good human beings, is let people know, I care about I care about you. What can I do to help? Asking people how we can help, I think, and it's got to be sincere. It just can't be like, oh yeah, ask them how you can help. Well, if you're asking them how you can help because you really have another motive, right? Agenda. People see that. Okay. Right now, in this environment, in this pandemic, in this season of humanity, people are looking for people that really care, because we didn't realize this 8 months ago, but human touch of some kind, now maybe not a literal touch, but like what you and I are doing right now, is extremely important. Phone calls, text messages, a card, reaching out to people, a prayer. I text people on occasion, hey, I'm praying for you today. And they say, well, thank you so much. I really need it. So I think that puts people in position to thrive. It's when I think of thrive, I used to think, well, thriving is, $300,000 in the bank, and that's a blessing. But the fact is, thrive means that you're still growing in spite of whatever it is you're dealing with, right? You stick a tree in the ground, and there's a frost that comes in that could potentially kill it, and maybe it damages some branches and damages wild blossoms, etc. But the tree continues to grow. It's thriving in spite of whatever it just went through. So being there, being that that whatever it is that comes alongside that tree, since I use that analogy, and saying, hey, I'm going to help you. You've got frost in your branches. Let me help you scrape them off so you can thrive. So I think that's one thing. I think another thing is, and I mentioned it, caring about people, being sincere. I think right now, the onion has really been peeled back by many layers, man.
A lot of layers, yeah.
Just from the church aspect right now, big buildings don't really matter anymore. They don't. People are looking for connection.
I don't know if everybody froze, but I sure did.
Yeah, right. All the industries. I know that the service industry has really suffered, but
oh yeah.
And then there's a book, and I forget. I read it years ago, and I can't remember all about it, but it was I think it was called "Who Moved My Cheese."
Oh, of course, yeah.
I forget who the author was. I'm sorry. My mom brought it up the other day to me. She just brought up the thought, but the fact is that if we're going to thrive, we have to adapt. Right now, I cannot go into our mortgage center to work. I have to work from home. I have to adapt. I've got 3 kids who are doing school virtually. They're
Right.
fighting with each other on each other's nerves. We're having to cook for them. We're having to make sure that, if I have a call with a client, I have to find a place to talk to them. It's just, we have to adapt. So part of thriving is being willing to adapt to whatever it is. And adaptability ties hand in hand with flexibility. You can't adapt unless you're flexible.
That's right.
And flexibility sometimes is another word of saying chaos. The truth is, we've experienced chaos the last 8 months or 9 months, almost 9 months now, right? It was the 15th or 16th of March. Today is the 16th of December. So exactly 9 months today.
9 months. Yeah.
We have our world, everything that we have held on to, everything that's comfortable for us has been shaken, right? And so we've had to learn how to adapt. You go to the bank now, they do everything differently. You go to the grocery store, everything's done differently. Plexiglass is up, and people are wearing gloves, and people are wearing masks. Whether we agree with that or not is not the point. The point is we have to adapt, to be flexible if we're going to thrive. Right?
Yes.
So if we're not flexible, if we don't adapt, we will not thrive.
I remember, I think it was our conversation we had on a past broadcast, or certainly a past discussion you might have had with some other folks around the table, is responsibility. And, it's our ability to respond to any given situation. And I think it kind of ties in with, how are we preparing that tree to grow or build that foundation to stem from? And, that had me going down more of a architectural and real estate analogy of, before the tall tower is ever built. And this is, some biblical reference, but it just makes sense. Even if, that you haven't referenced this, is you have to have a strong foundation to build a tall tower or a strong house. Right. And even more so, before you even build the foundation, you have to have a plan.
Right.
And have that plan be banker and broker and helping people get loans for their house, right? If that money isn't there, it doesn't mean that they can't buy it, but they have to figure out a different way to respond with the ability to make that commitment. And man, have we been challenged this year. But man, I've seen a lot of resilience as well. So what do you see with all this?
Well, and people that can adapt, we interpret that as resilience. You made it. You were strong, right?
Right.
I think sometimes and maybe I'm repeating myself, Sean, enough I am, forgive me. This has just been my message the last 9 months is
I love it.
We think that struggle, number one, is negative. And then many times we think something negative is bad.
Yeah.
Not everything negative is bad. And not every struggle is negative. Some struggles are positive. A struggle is a word that's found in scripture, and it really refers to an intense wrestling match, right? So I didn't wrestle in high school, but I used to wrestle and practice with those guys, and man, it was intense. And sometimes it was ear to ear, and you're sweating and they're sweating. It's pretty gross now that I think about it.
It was. I wrestled a little myself.
You're literally fighting for your life, right? Yeah. But just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're losing.
Right.
And sometimes you have to lose to learn how to win. And I don't just want to throw out those things out there that sound, insincere and shallow. But the truth is that not everything negative is bad. I mean, if you just look at your outlets, you have a positive, you have a negative, right? You have a ground. You've got protons and neutrons and electrons. There's a reason, you can't have light without darkness, right? You can't, a little bit of light expels a lot of darkness, the Bible says. So the same God who created light obviously created darkness. Pain is good, right? Without pain, we don't know we're being hurt.
Right.
If I put my hand on a hot stove, I don't feel pain, I'm going to lose that hand. Yeah. So pain is actually good. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And I may feel the effects of burning my hand on a stove for a few days to maybe weeks. And maybe there's even long-term effects. Maybe I get third-degree burns and I have a scar for the rest of my life. But the fact that I felt pain is a good thing. So
Another response system. Our pain
Yes.
sensors.
And that's what we were created. We were created to respond. I mean, when I get up in the morning, I don't have to think about it. Okay, I'm awake now. I have to put my legs my feet on the floor. I just do it. Right now I'm talking to you. I'm not telling, my brain's not telling me. I mean, I'm not telling my brain to tell my mouth to tell you what to say. It's just, it's coming out. It's amazing how we're built. But, I was thinking about what you said about, a foundation. And the foundations don't change. Foundations at times can bear the brunt of the edifice, correct? But they technically don't change. We're actually out here my parents looking to build a house, and talking to the builder right now. And it's amazing that you're looking at houses in every stage, the houses that are fully completed, houses that are just starting out.
We're getting some cellular static. You're breaking up a little bit, but
okay.
Your parents are. What I heard was your parents are building a house.
They're looking to build a house.
Yep.
So I'm looking at these houses being built, and some of them, they're just starting the foundation.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them have got the Tyvek home wrap on them. Some of them have got the brick now. So you see different stages of the different various homes here, and that's just how life is. We're just in different stages. But I think if I've learned something in the last 9 months, it's we have to adapt. We have to be flexible.
Yeah. Adapt, be flexible. I've also learned, like what do we want to be flexible with, and what do we not want to be flexible with? And it's like what are the things that are more important to us that helps guide us for that plan or the foundation that so we know how to bend and we know where we want to direct things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I grew up about 90 minutes from San Francisco,
mm-hmm.
and San Francisco is a very windy place, very breezy.
Yeah.
And there are some places you can stand. The way those buildings are built, they're built to withstand earthquakes.
Yes.
And so when the earthquake comes, the buildings have to be able to sway a little bit. If they don't, they'll crack.
Yes.
I'm not saying the foundation sways, but the foundation is made in such a way that it adapts to the weather patterns. Now, when the big one comes and the big ones have been there, it does cause destruction. And,
yes.
Last time when I lived there, the Bay Bridge came crashing down. The top level did. They've had to rebuild it, and they've even done more. And but if you look at the Golden Gate Bridge moves a little bit in the wind. It has to.
Yeah, has to.
So it doesn't mean it's not sure and stable. And adaptability doesn't mean that. But I think that if we're going to make it in this time, in any kind of business or any kind of relationship, really anything, we have to learn how to sort of go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Sway a little bit, and a little bit of shifting is okay.
Yeah. Again, the response ability of that
Correct.
bridge is able to sway. It can take.
Yep.
It can take it. Now, it might not take the moon crashing on it. It's got a different response, right? It's going to break, and it's not designed for that. It's designed for the response and its ability to have all these other existing conditions that we know about, including the earthquakes and wind and things like that. And I remember that. I remember that being in Chicago for almost 20 years. And being in real estate there and having the opportunity to go up to some of these amazing high rises, both commercial and residentials. But the same thing, you would literally get up high enough in buildings. And I lived in a condo for a while. You could see this on a very windy day. If you looked in the toilet, the water would be moving in the toilet, even though nobody was flushing and nobody was doing anything. You just see the water moving. And it's like, what? No way. It was kind of cool. Right?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't almost notice it unless you saw. But it has the ability to respond and adapt like that. So
yes, so I think that's key. And I don't know that I have 4, 5, 6 points, but I think that
they can't right now, because I know that's been a struggle for a lot of people. Like, my business associates. What's your insight and wish for them?
For our businesses, you cut out when you asked the question. So my desire and wish for business associates is what you're asking me?
Yeah, correct. Anyone challenged right now that feel like they can't adapt, right? Or they're really struggling.
Yes, I think it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Number one. Absolutely. I think it's okay to call a Sean Brady and say, how you doing, man? and then Sean Brady may say, you know what, not very good.
Yeah.
Or Sean may say, excellent. If the response is not very good, well, what's going on? Well, I'm dealing with this. Sometimes when we are open with others, we don't know, but we can help them. They're like, you know what? I can relate to that. I can relate to your struggle. What are you doing? Because things may not be perfect, but it doesn't mean I'm giving up. So asking for help is good. Being faithful to your calling, whatever it is, just the biggest thing you can do is just be there, right? Just be there. Whatever your job is, whatever your calling is, whatever your gifting is, just do it. In the words of Nike. It's not always good, and I was a couple of weeks ago. I taught to the church. I was talking about Colonel Harlan Sanders. Do you like fried chicken, Sean?
Oh yeah,
and
I love
his story, and I actually later on I read again about it because I've done some research on him, not extensive, but just enough to know a little bit. And
me too.
The Colonel Sanders we think about is not the Colonel Sanders that's not how he started.
Right.
He failed. He failed at restaurant endeavors. He failed at a lot of things, and in fact, he was traveling the nation, and he was told no 1,000 times before he was told yes. He was just trying to get these little restaurants to buy his chicken and to sell it.
Right.
I think he was selling to them for like a couple pennies, maybe 5 cents a piece of chicken or something. Or he would, I forget exactly.
He was, I thought he was trying to sell him the recipe, right? It's like, use my recipe and pay me like a royalty when you use it, because it's really good chicken. And they're like, no, you're crazy. I got fried chicken.
So he never really owned franchises. That came later.
No. Yeah.
But he sold the concept, but he was living in his car, told no 1,000 times, but he believed in his product. And so I think what we need to do, if I'm going to make it in this day, I'm just going to have to be faithful and loyal and consistent in what I do. We've got to be experts, right? And whatever we do, we have to be the best. But man, just showing up every day, that's step one. Get up out of bed, put one foot in front of the other and walk. Do whatever you got to do. You don't feel like it. It's tough going to work and not leaving the house, and I like to work from home, except when I have to, right?
Right.
I like to work from home when I can, because I want to.
Yeah.
It messes with your psychology when you go downstairs and jump on your computer and you're not really at the office and you haven't it's like purely psychological, but you haven't removed yourself from, you're just in the same space for the last 9 months. It's terrible. Be faithful. Just say, I got to do what I got to do. If I got to make 20 calls, I'm just going to make, I don't feel like making 20 calls. I don't feel like talking to people. I have a bad attitude. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that makes me happy. And I'm going to dress up. I'm going to change how I feel. And I'm going to smile. When I make a phone call, I'm going to smile because you can hear the smile. Everyone's struggling right now, Sean. It's not like just some of us are. Everybody is struggling right now. The clients are struggling. The business partners are struggling. I mean, it's down the line. So everyone's, we're really in this together, right?
Well, and I think we always have been. This is just making us a little bit more aware of that, or a lot bit more aware of it.
Yeah, because I think the things that we have, I do appreciate everything, but sometimes we take things for granted. And I think what we take it for granted is the fact that people are really important to us. Some like we've had conversations with people, and man, I'm glad you came over. Yeah, really. Well, man, we just miss people. Wow.
Yeah.
I miss people. I really miss people. I know that like churches, I think before COVID, it was like 7% of churches were on Facebook and social media.
Yeah.
Now it's like 93%.
Right.
Because people have to see, I see Amazon all over the place. Delivering.
Everywhere.
I mean, it's just Grubhub and DoorDash. I mean, everything's changed, but people still desire to see somebody somehow. You and I right now are connected through Zoom, but I can see you, right?
Yes.
You could have done a phone call, but even just seeing each other, it makes a difference in our lives. So we're in this together. Let's be there for each other, and let's be faithful to whatever it is we're supposed to do.
I love it.
That'd be my three points that I would want to make today. That's how you thrive in challenging times.
And in all times.
At all times. That's it. But right now, those are very more important than ever. But yeah, no matter what, that doesn't change. Those are principles. Like you said, a foundation doesn't change.
That's right. It's awesome stuff. Awesome. Ernest Martinez. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insight. And hey, thanks for always being willing to help others in the way that you do.
You know, I really do want to help people. I feel a burden for people. I feel passion for people to lift them up, encourage them, and let them know that, I can't promise things will get better. I don't know. But I can promise we'll get through this together. And that's what's important, is having friends. And for those that don't have friends and relationships, man, make it happen now. Do something.
Yeah.
There's
a wise person once told me, if it's just easy. If you want to be in love, go love someone.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says, if you want friends, you got to show yourself friendly.
Yeah, great.
Right?
That's all you got to do.
You got to be the ability to be a friend.
Yeah. Excellent insight. All right. Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up because I know you got people coming in back into your car. And thank you, as always. Thank you for your just everything you do. I'm definitely grateful. Yeah, please.
Let me tell you why I called you, invited you to lunch, and then this happened.
Yes.
Because
that's how this whole Zoom thing got started.
Yeah. I really would like to help out a couple restaurants.
Yes.
And maybe we do this every week, but Edgewild has been so good to us, and they are serving outdoors in a tent. I think there's heaters and stuff, but you can pick food up. I think they have delivery. You can do Grubhub or DoorDash. I'm not a big fan of those
if you pick it up direct, that helps them out because they keep that 30%.
Right, because that's the deal. They're losing a lot of money. So, but during the next few weeks, go out there and buy some gift cards. Or maybe order some food and have it delivered to your neighbor. Something that would really help them.
Yeah,
and when you do that,
buy a gift card and give it away right away.
Give it away right
say, hey,
away.
use this now because we want people to stay open and thrive. We went to another local restaurant, and I think we just picked up dinner, some simple pizzas and stuff one night, and it was I know it made a huge difference because they were usually a sit down restaurant, right? And
yeah, it does.
It makes a difference.
So a few weeks ago, it might have been a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I went to Edgewild. And I got some of their wings. Their wings are phenomenal. And I had a friend, so we had wings and pizza. It was great. The pizza was excellent. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
So I want to help Edgewild. I've got a couple other restaurants I'm going to mention here in a second. But for everyone that's going to hear this, if you can, sometime this week before Christmas, go out and get a gift card. Tell them that, Lunch with Ernest sent you. Tell them Ernest Martinez and Sean Brady. They may or may not know. They may or may not care, but at least do that. And I'm going to share this video.
Yeah, please.
Go out there. Number one, they need our help. Okay. Another restaurant that I really like, and it's because of the connection with the management, the ownership. I love Wonton King. Aline, she's a tremendous lady. She works hard, and I know that they're struggling there. The food is excellent. The price is reasonable. Once again, go in there and get some good Chinese food. It's not takeout like these other places. It's very good. It meets my approval. I grew up close to San Francisco. I love good Chinese food. I have my favorites. Go in there and tell her Ernest and Sean Brady sent you. Please do that. There's other local restaurants like Thai Sawadi in Chesterfield. Just maybe we can do this in the next week where we can feature more restaurants. I know next Wednesday is right before Christmas. That may not be a good idea, but maybe we can do something to really help these businesses, but especially these restaurants. Restaurants are really feeling it more than anyone right now. I think even more than hotels and more than other places. But good
Well,
Christmas gift.
the reality is think about how the small business is really impacted. And hotels can be a small business, but in many times they're part of a conglomerate and they have different
Right.
corporation structures. And I think of, you mentioned Thai Swade, and I think of Addie's Thai House and Cake
Yeah.
Zone and Thai Ka, and all these other places that are doing it, and even the new ones that just started up. But the point is don't be afraid, or actually be encouraged to order takeout from there and actually go and pick it up and try it, try something new, try a new local restaurant, because that makes the difference, right? And be willing to share about your experience with your friends and family, because that's going to drive more traffic than any other advertising we get in the mail, a video even like this, because your opinion counts and your sharing makes all the difference.
Yes, I know that. I live in St. Charles County, so the restaurants are still open.
Yep.
But St. Louis County, they're not. They're not.
They're
You
not,
can't
no.
see inside of them. And I know these restaurants are really struggling. I think I saw New Day Bakery closed down. That was the gluten-free bakery.
Yeah.
They closed down. Edgewild shut down 2 restaurants. They have a third. They're trying to hold on to it. I know that Wonton King, I know she's struggling. And I may come up with a list, Sean, that I can share with you. Maybe we can promote that. But I really feel like we have such a tremendous network, people that we're connected to around St. Louis. I'm asking everyone that's listening to and watching this Facebook Live, this YouTube Live, please share this to your page. This is not about me. It's not about Sean. We just really want to help. And, $20, I know people now can still afford something for $20. We'll get a $25 gift certificate. Maybe you can do 50 or 100, but do something just to help them get through the next, I guess it's 3 weeks, because the order expires on the 4th of January. Right. So we just got to get them through. They're giving up they give up their big Thanksgiving buffets. They're giving up all their big Christmas parties. I mean, they're losing a lot of money, and they're not able to take care of their employees. Their employees are losing jobs, and they're doing everything they can do to try to barely make it. So,
yeah, I would encourage, which restaurants, find out where you can order your holiday dinner from. We did that for Thanksgiving. Well, we didn't do that for Thanksgiving. We made a lot, but we're like, oh my gosh, that was so hard for, just the 6 of us in our household, because we didn't have other family bringing over tons of dishes. But man, some of our neighbors who catered it out to a restaurant or a grocery store, it was easier on them. It was sane. It was great. It impacted the economy, and it's great. But that's the whole idea of currency, right?
Yeah.
It comes from the word current, just like a river, and it's got to flow. You can't hold on to it. It's supposed to flow. It's supposed to be shared, and it flows back both ways. So
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to come up with a list this week, and I'll send it to you, and maybe we can just promote the list. And like I said, everyone that's watching or listening, please share this. We want to help these restaurants, and let's just find these local restaurants that we can go to and buy gift cards. And like you said, holiday dinners. Yeah. They would love to do it. I was talking to a caterer.
Share the message and the spirit of, just impacting others with what you got.
And it's nothing extra. It's not like you're just eating. You did it last year anyway. Let's just keep doing it, just with adapting. But it's still going to be a blessing to them. So that's really what I wanted to do today, is go to a place and maybe do a video. But I think this reaches more people. Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity, Sean. I really appreciate it.
Always. Well, we'll do more. Thank you, Ernest Martinez. And Jenny, thank you for getting that bumper ready. And like I always say, hey, Ernest and everybody in the world, we may not see you in person, but we're always going to see you right here on social media. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Really great stuff.